Easy swing, straight down the middle. Oh, it's another topped wood off a tee, and it might be the same case with your irons, guys. Today we're going to look at 3 top reasons why you are topping the golf ball. So let's get stuck right into that lesson now. So guys, if this is your first lesson as well, do remember to hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any of the free golf lessons to help you improve your golf game this year. So we've probably all been there before, and whether it's been a fairway wood, potentially a driver, or even an iron on the fairway, that top shot feels like such a waste because I've literally advanced that 2 paces now from where I was a second ago, and I'm going to have to try and hit it again. I feel like I've really wasted that shot. And most of all, it's pretty frustrating when you hit that shot. It just enrages you a little bit. It's really not an enjoyable way to play golf. So we're going to find out the 3 reasons why that is happening. And number 1 reason, what we tend to find when I potentially see these tops out on the practice tee, or when I take my lessons to the golf course, as I address the golf ball, I actually create a lot of angles in my body. So there's flex of my knees, flex of my hips, my spine's at a certain angle, I'm leaving my arms hanging in a certain position, and the club head now is a certain distance from the center of my chest, and it's also sat on the ground with the middle of the club facing where I'd want to hit the golf ball. So ideally I would come down and I would change the angles ever so slightly in my body, where my hips are starting to open out to the target. My spine would pretty much stay in the same position in terms of the angle I'm on, and my chest might be slightly open or slightly closed. The weight shifts forward, but generally what you'd see here, if I were to make a good swing and come back down slowly, is that the angles don't look too different to what you would see from where I was at address. I'm not back to the place, as you can see from this camera, where I'm face on and coming straight back to the address. Like I say, the body's starting to turn out a little bit, but from down the line we see that potentially I look very similar. Like I say, you can see a little bit of movement from the trail leg, right knee for me rolling towards my left knee because my hips are opening out, but I've not changed the angles. The top reason, number 3 reason why I would see people hit the top shot is because they may actually make a good swing in terms of where the club is travelling, the shape around the body. It might be on a good arc, a good plane, and actually having the face pretty square to the arc and the target. But what tends to happen is a big stand up and we lose all the angles. So we see now that I've got no flex in my hips, no flex in my knees, and I pretty much look like a straight line. And if I just do that, where even from address I stand up, we can see how far above the club is above the golf ball now. So for me to try and hit it, it's never going to happen from here. So you could be making that really good golf swing and losing all of your angles, and going, even in some extenses, totally over the top of the golf ball and getting that air shot. So if you are someone who feels like you're standing up a lot in your golf shots, what I want you to try and feel a little bit more is that as you make the golf swing now, try and feel that the distance from the chest, the center of your chest, to the golf ball in the backswing isn't changing. Don't feel like you're picking your chest up and down a lot as you're making your backswing and your downswing, that you're here and going a bit like a seesaw. We want to try and feel that even yes that you rotate, we want to try and keep the distance the same from where we are. If we can do that, hopefully we should be able to get a good clip away. A little bit skinny, but a lot better than this thing that's a couple of feet out in front of me. So that is the 3rd reason why you would be topping your wood or your iron. Let's change over to an iron for number 2. So it might be on a par 3, it might be on, like I say, on the fairway. The reason why we are topping our irons. So we've had changing posture. Now what I see a lot of people do is something to do with what happens with the arms. You might be someone who actually manages to maintain the angles in your golf swing in terms of the ones that we create in posture, but due to a lack of rotation in terms of turning to the target, what we start to see is something where the arms start to pull up. Now the golf swing is a rotational move. The club works round us on an arc. It works back here. Once we actually hit the ball, the job isn't done. The swing wants to carry on. It's moving at quite a speed. So we've got to let it turn the corner and go round into our follow through. A lot of what I see from people when they get these tops and thins with the irons is because they could keep the angles, like I say, but as they come down, they almost return back to where they were in their address. So instinctively, the arms pull up and try to carry on the golf swing. They're not too fussed about hitting the golf ball. This might be moving at 70, 80 miles an hour, so it wants to do it without causing you any harm. So what we would see is that as you go through it, we would get here, body, chest still square onto the camera here. But as you can see, I've pulled my arms in an effort to try and let the club carry on its journey. So if you are someone who feels like you get a little bit stuck down at impact and you feel that your arms are starting to bunch up into your side a little bit and that your elbows are separating, what I want you to do is have some small swings, half swings, where we feel we turn to the target and we try and create this extension. If we think of post impact just after we've hit the golf ball, the arms will be fully extended into this position here. So what we want to try and see is that we can create that extension, get a little brush on the turf and see that we'd be able to actually get a good clip away. So a little half swing for this one. We're going to go for that turning of the body and extending the arms to see that we're not getting the bunched up top. So just a little pitch off and a beautiful crisp strike, ball then divot as I've hit that one and really fizzed away for me. Okay, so the number one reason why we would be topping our fairway woods, and like I say, potentially irons as well, but this is more related to the fairway wood, I would say. Obviously, here, there is not much loft on there. I've got 14.5 degrees on this 3 wood. So the idea is that a 3 wood should be flying nice and high up into the sky for me. I should see it going up into those clouds, dropping down nicely and going a good distance. And one of my lessons, Phil, the other day, who come quite a long way with his golf swing, was making really good movements and actually seeing that he was getting a good strike, but he'd been watching the golf at the weekend and seen a lot of height from people's 3 woods and thought, I need to get it up a little bit more, I need to create a bit more launch as I was going through it. And what we were seeing here now, if we see that my centre of my body is now placed on top of this club here, what Phil had sort of worked towards, even though it was a 3 wood off a tee or even off the deck, he was making a good backswing, and his transition into downswing was actually led by spinning into his toes. So he would move his feet and actually work back behind the golf ball. The problem with that is that as he does this, if we think that the low point of my arc is going to be in line with where my zipper is on my jacket, it's well behind the golf ball. And if I move it even further back behind the cane or the club and the golf ball, I'm going to be traveling quite a way up above the golf ball as I reach it. So that would then lead to a lot of top shots like I saw with Phil. He got some thin ones and he wasn't really hitting the mat at any point during the initial part of the lesson, or because his feet were spinning out like this motion. As he went back, he was starting to jump here a little bit and finish very much with all his weight in his trail thigh as we were going through. So even if it's a fairway wood, what we've got to try and feel to stop the tops and the thins is that as we start our downswing, we just shift our sternum, the centre of our chest, towards our lead leg. So that will allow us to get a little bit of weight moving forwards and get us just clipping the ball as we go through instead of pulling it backwards and raising up over the golf ball. Ideally, when you finish your swing, once you've got that little clip of the deck, We should now see that we get pretty much a straight line over the lead side. If you're someone who suffers with quite a lot of lower back pain when you're finished, it's probably because you've got this reverse C position and there's a lot of pressure going in here. We want to make the shift forwards, little bump of the chest forwards, and finish into a good position. Let's see if we can just end this little tip with a really nice 3-wood here. So up, little shift, and a good strike. And as we see there, straight over my left side, and I've absolutely smoked that one. Probably the best 3-wood I've hit in a long time, that one. So, 3 reasons why you top or thin your irons and fairway woods, guys. Go through those. Are you someone who's losing the angles a lot? Are you someone who's bunching your arms up, or are you moving your weight back? Have a figure out, maybe video yourself, have a look at your golf swing, try and figure it out to which one you are. If you're struggling, come and see me myself for in person, or go and see one of your PGA professionals. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson this week. If you have, do remember to hit that like button down below. Comment below, which one are you? Are you number 3, 2 or 1? Guys, as well, do remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future lessons to help improve your game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.